I'll never forget the day Laura Bennett, our HOA president, lost it over a single honk. One moment, I was chilling in my car, just trying to get home after a brutal day at work. The next, this woman who'd been the neighborhood's self-appointed dictator for years was hammering on my hood, her face twisted with fury, screaming so loud that folks started poking their heads out of their houses to see what the hell was going on. "How dare you honk at me? Do you know who I am?" she bellowed, her fancy sunglasses slipping off as she jabbed a manicured finger at my windshield. "I run this place." I sat there, gripping the wheel, stunned that a quick tap of my horn had unleashed this kind of chaos. Cars were piling up behind us, phones were out, recording every second of her meltdown, and I could hear police sirens wailing in the distance, closing in on our sleepy little suburban street. Let me back up. It all kicked off about 20 minutes earlier. I was cruising home, dreaming of kicking off my shoes and cracking open a cold one. Our neighborhood, Willow Creek, is one of those places with pristine lawns, matching mailboxes, and an HOA that rules with an iron fist. Nobody enforced those rules harder than Laura Bennett, our HOA president for the last 4 years. Laura was obsessed with what she called community standards. She'd slap you with a violation notice if your grass grew a smidge too long, fine you for VYing your trash, can out past noon on pickup day, and hold monthly meetings where she'd lecture us about property values while sipping from her monogrammed tumbler like some kind of suburban queen. As I turned onto Cedar Lane, I spotted a sleek white SUV parked dead in the middle of the road, not at a stop sign. Not a light, just sitting there, driver's door cracked open. I slowed down, waited maybe 15 seconds, then gave a light, friendly honk. You know, the kind that says, "Hey, could you move?" Nothing aggressive. The door swung wide, and out stepped Laura in her signature getup. Designer capri pants, a pastel polo with the collar popped, and oversized sunglasses that made her look like she was auditioning for a reality show. She shot me a death glare, rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd pop out, then climbed back in her SUV and slammed the door. But she didn't budge. I waited another minute, then honked again, a bit longer this time. That's when I saw her roll down her window and flip me off in her rear EW mirror. She was deliberately screwing with me. I couldn't believe it. There was just enough room to squeeze by, so I carefully maneuvered around her SUV and kept heading home. I figured that was the end of it. Boy, was I wrong. In my rear EW, I saw Laura's SUV roar to life. She whipped a sharp U-turn and started tailing me, riding my bumper so close I could practically feel her breath. I sped up a little, hoping she'd back off, but she stayed glued to me, laying on her horn like a maniac. By the time I turned onto my street, things got crazier. Laura swerved into the oncoming lane, pulling up beside me, her window down, shouting something I couldn't make out over the blare of her horn. Then, to my absolute shock, she started chucking crumpled HOA newsletters out her window of my car. They fluttered across my windshield like some bizarre paper attack. My neighbors were outside, watching this unfold, their faces a mix of horror and, yep, that's Laura. One guy, Mike from across the street, had his phone out recording. "You think you could disrespect me?" Laura screamed, her voice echoing down the quiet street. "I'm the president of this HOA. I'll make your life hell." I kept my cool, eyes forward, DRIVYing steady toward my house. When I pulled into my driveway, I thought she'd peel off with one last honk. Nope. Laura swerved her SUV right behind me, blocking me in. Before I could even kill the engine, she was out of her car, phone in hand, filming me as I stepped out. "This is the third time this resident has harassed me this month," she announced to her imaginary audience, spinning a total lie. "He tried to assault me by honking aggressively and running me off the road. I'm documenting this for the board in legal action." I was floored. "Laura, all I did was honk because you were stopped in the middle of the road," I said, trying to stay calm. "You're the one who followed me home." That just made her madder. She stormed up to my front door and started pounding on it, even though I was still standing in the driveway. "You're getting fined for this," she shrieked. "Maximum penalties. Your violations are going on permanent record. You'll never serve on any committee." What Laura didn't notice was the crowd forming. Mrs. Kim from across the street was quietly filming everything. Jake and Lisa from 2 doors down stood with their arms crossed, shaking their heads. My next-door neighbor, Greg, a retired cop, was already on his phone. "Yeah, we need officers at 312 Willow Creek," I heard him say. "We've got a woman acting aggressive, following someone home, trespassing, and making threats. We've got VY Deo of her DRI VYing recklessly and throwing stuff from her car." Laura was too busy with her one-woman show to notice Greg's call. She kept filming herself, rattling off fake VY-olations, unapproved blinds, a bird feeder half an inch too big, you name it. Ascendancy, she claimed I'd racked up. "The board's going to hear about this at the emergency meeting I'm calling tomorrow," she declared, her voice hitting banshee levels. "That's overdue lot 2,000 in fines, in case you're wondering." The neighbors kept gathering, even the ones who usually stayed out of drama. You could feel the tension in the air, like a storm about to break. Then came the sirens. Laura's smug expression cracked as a police cruiser rolled up. She rushed the officers, phone still rolling. "Officers, thank God you're here. I'm Laura Bennett, president of Willow Creek HOA. This man," she pointed at me like I was a criminal mastermind, "has been harassing me and threatened me with his car. I want to press charges." The lead officer nodded calmly. "Ma'am, we got multiple calls about a road rage incident and a woman following someone home, causing a disturbance. Can you tell us about that?" Laura's face turned beet red. "That's not what happened. I was doing official HOA business when he honked aggressively, endangering me. I followed him to document his VY-olations." Mrs. Kim stepped up, holding her phone. "Officers, I've got VY Deo of the whole thing her blocking the road, flipping him off, following him, all of it." Jake and Lisa chimed in. "We saw her throwing papers at his car," Lisa said. The officers exchanged a look, then turned to Laura, who was starting to sweat. "Ma'am, we'll need your ID and any VY Deo, EVY Denke." As their VY EU'd the footage, Laura's attitude flipped. She went from defiant to defensive, then pulled the waterworks. "This neighborhood is my responsibility," she sobbed. "I'm just trying to keep our standards up. These people don't get the pressure I'm under." The officers weren't buying it. After talking to witnesses and watching the VY Deos, they walked over to Laura, who was now slumped on the curb, glaring at everyone. "Ms. Bennett, based on the EVY Denke and statements, you're under arrest for reckless DRI VY-ing, disorderly conduct, and making threats. Please stand and put your hands behind your back." Her jaw dropped. "You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. I know people on the city council." As they cuffed her, she lost it. "This is a mistake. I'll have your jobs. I'll sue this whole neighborhood. My husband golfs with the mayor." They read her rights as they led her to the cruiser, her pristine SUV still blocking my driveway. Door open. It had to be towed. 3 weeks later, I got a letter from the HOA. Laura was charged with 3 misdemeanors, facing up to 6 months in jail and overdue law $5,000 in fines. The board booted her out unanimously at an emergency meeting. Word spread fast her job at a local real estate firm was toast after the VY Deos went VY Row on our community forums. The next day, I drove by her house and saw a for sale sign on her perfect lawn, breaking her own rule about weekend-only signage. Through her window, I could see her on the phone, gesturing like a woman possessed, probably realizing her reign as Willow Creek's tyrant was over. The queen of the cul-de-sac was done. But it makes you wonder, how far is too far when it comes to power trips? Should Laura have been arrested? Or was this just a bad day blown out of proportion? Could the neighbors have handled it differently? Or was she asking for it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button if you're team justice. And subscribe for more wild stories like this. What would you have done if you were in my shoes?